Hey guys, welcome to episode 23 of the Real Sports Science Podcast. What we got going on, David?
What's up, everyone? We got guest number 4 on the Real Sports Science Podcast. We're rolling. We got a guest this week. We got a guest next week, so stay tuned for that. But what's happening this week? What are we talking about? Who we got on, Matt?
Oh, well, we've got Jack Burbank on, and with that, we're talking about touching grass and remembering the general public, as well as what it's like working with the real people of this world, and finally, the educational route, and if there are some hurdles with that or without the educational route. So here we go.
Yeah, awesome. But before we get into it, we've got tweet of the week, and I got a funny one. So I put this tweet out. What is the worst or best excuse you've heard or have given to get out of participating in a study? So anyone who's in a PhD or even master's knows that without participants, basically you're screwed, and it's sometimes very difficult to get participants. So what's the worst excuse that someone's given you or that you've given to get out of participating? And this is the reply I got. This is funny. A few days after the inclusion visit, so a familiarization visit, a 68-year-old patient who told me who's retired phoned me and told me that she couldn't participate because she found a job. This woman didn't want to do the participate or be a participant so badly. She came out of retirement to get out of it.
That's decent. To be
Either
fair.
that or she's finished her master's. She's been on that grind that we've been talking about of finding a job for 40 years.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe she can employ me. That would be a nice change, eh?
Yeah.
I love jobs.
Or yeah, figure out where she got her job because they're looking, apparently.
There you go. We should tell her to get in contact with the RSS podcast. Tell her to post her job on there as well. But yeah, that's a great one.
But yeah, this is episode 23. We're excited that you're here. It's the Real Sports Science Podcast with Matt and David. Let's go. NFL predictions. We've just spent the last 10 minutes talking to a ghost who's the producer, who you can't hear, who's my brother. And I'm going to
strangle him after this call's finished.
NFL predictions. I was wrong. Do you remember what your prediction was?
Yeah,
Matt?
I said Eagles were going to win 26-17, I think, or something along those lines. But I did say Eagles.
But
would
you
win
definitely thought the Eagles was going to win.
Yeah.
So did I, and I thought it was going to be a low-scoring game as well. I was wrong. Did you watch the highlights?
Yeah, I did. What a game, can I just say? That was crazy, and with a call like that as well.
Yeah, what did you think? What did you think of the call? Controversial.
Yeah, I think it was a bit soft, I can't lie.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, like no football game or any sporting game, like team event is going to come down to one call, right? Like the Eagles squandered a 10-point lead as well.
Yeah.
Like they had it, and then they messed up, and then they came back from what they were down like 6. Then came back from that, but but great games. Like I wish that I could have watched it because it looked like it was an entertaining game, back and forth, end to end. But yeah,
it looks class.
Kansas City comes on top. So
the next thing I want to say,
on top.
Guess who's got energy again? I'm recovered. I've slept. Snowdon, you took a lot out of me. You took a bit of my spirit.
Yeah.
And I recently regained it. David hates
We're
me
gonna
now,
go
but
back
it's
and
all
just
okay.
We're gonna go back and just hear whispers of Matt complaining on the way out.
Oh, I was in now that I can reflect on it, I'll tell you what the best part of that vlog was, just being able to watch it back and realize that was not me on that mountain. That was just a shadow of the man that I truly am, because that person had his heart taken out of him. I'm sorry, right? I was feeling ill. I just had to drive everywhere, kind of tired. I know I've already spoken about this on the vlog and the other podcast. Watching Ewan and you, the little gazelles going up, like, just running up that mountain. I'm not having any of it.
We didn't talk about that. This guy, to be fair, we gave him the lightest backpack, which had in all of the camera equipment, which was basically just the camera, which he was holding, which wasn't in his backpack. Meanwhile, I've got about 45 kilos worth of pears and apples in my backpack.
Pears.
And while hydrates, I took way too many pears.
pears. Have you seen that guy that says that when he goes, I mean pears? It's like DaBaby or something. He's a rapper. Have you not heard that? Got pears.
One other thing. This was funny that I just remembered. You were in such a bad mood, and you hadn't eaten anything. You hadn't eaten anything except for a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd gotten up at 1:30, not eaten a Snickers bar at some point, and I was like, and you were struggling. I was like, Matt, like have a pear, like eat something. You're like, no, bro, it's fine. I'll eat something when they get to the top.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're like stumbling up the hill.
I can't, like, every time you were like, Matt, you gotta eat something. I was like, no, I'm fine. And then, like, I just head down, just zoned out, looking at sheep, and then walking along this thing. Right? I just said, I'll go straight.
Counting sheep.
I bought a head torch, which I held in my hand for the entire walk up the mountain, anyways.
Yeah,
because I was just
because
sweating
man's
profusely.
forehead was too sweaty.
Oh, fuming about that one. I can't lie.
Oh,
but yeah, I'll tell you what,
hilarious.
it was worth it. It was worth it. It was a great memory. And to watch it back, I thought it was a great video.
Yeah, and we definitely need to go back up again. I'm thinking maybe this time we go when we know it's going to be definitely sunny. You know, maybe clear skies. On the way up, you look up, and I was like, "Boys, I don't see any stars."
We're getting a tent because I'm not doing that drive in the morning again. I can't. That killed me off. It took me 2 days to recover. We'll get a tent.
It killed almost all of us.
We'll get a. Oh, imagine that though. We'll get a tent. That'll be fun. Sorry, I don't know why I got so excited.
That'd be sick.
About that.
You got really excited then. It's fine. It's fine.
Energy.
Yeah.
Man. Energy.
Speaking of getting excited, I think we should jump into our guest. Get excited for the guest. Before we bring this on guest as well, we've got a special guest next week as well who works for CNP. You see, we are full kit wankers wearing CNP. Matt's got CNP behind him. I've got CNP behind me. That sounded weird. We've just got CNP behind us.
Hey, this guy needs
back.
to calm down. It's getting worse. But back to our first guest, David. I've got the perfect intro for him. The bank.
Okay.
Is going to be bringing pounds and pounds of conversation. His name is Jack Burbank. Ooh. We're bringing it in.
Jumping Jack.
RSF podcast. Let's go. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 25 of the Real Sports Science podcast. So for our next guest, we have Jack, who's sat right next to David. I feel like I'm missing out massively here.
You are.
You know, just
there's another chair in here as well.
I know. Oh, feel bad. I'm missing out. The gang's back together, except I'm all the way in Kent. But yeah, so we've got Jack, who me and him have been through the depths of a POWERBASE gym cleaning. Me and him. Well, me mostly. I'm always cleaning, doing the majority of the work. Standard. But yeah, Jack is a PT. He's at POWERBASE. Still at POWERBASE, right?
Yeah, still at POWERBASE, my man. Yeah, yeah.
Still carrying it on his shoulders now that David and I have left. But David still visits regularly just to say hello and just to clean about 20 kilos. But yeah, so welcome on the podcast, Jack.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you. It's a pleasure to.
How are you?
Pleasure to be asked. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good, mate. How's things with you?
Yeah, all going good here. It's nice to just see everyone again. I mean, I see David every single day, but it's nice to switch it up.
getting sick of each other.
After that 2 a.m. hike up Snowdon, we sort of got a newfound bit of our relationship going. But yeah, so yeah, if you just like to tell the podcast a bit more about yourself, sort of where your journey started, career-wise, or yeah, just let everyone know about Jack.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So, hi, I'm Jack. I am a.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, David. Hi, Matt. Yeah, I'm Jack, and I am sort of a fitness coach and personal trainer based in Loughborough and Leicestershire. So that's sort of where sort of my whole career has been based around, is sort of fitness and personal training, sort of in and around Leicestershire. I've done a little bit of a mixture between sort of online personal training, face-to-face, obviously sort of taken on a few clients within my role at POWERBASE, as you two have been obviously a witness witnesses of.
I've never seen any repeat customers. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, just because I give them everything they need on that,
Yeah, one and done.
in that
Dream
1 hour,
body
just
in 60 minutes.
literally.
Yeah.
Literally, I just get my wand out, mate, and that's it. That's it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I've been in the fitness industry for roughly around sort of 10 years now, in various different roles. Sort of recently, obviously at POWERBASE Loughborough University. I've worked over at Loughborough College as well. That's where I studied and sort of got my qualifications from.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about your qualifications. So what route have you gone to get to where you are now?
Okay.
Academic wise or studying wise or
yeah, sure. So obviously I left school, started studying at Loughborough College. So just started with a sort of like a basic sports diploma, a national award in sport. So that's sort of just very generic, where you sort of cover the basics of biomechanics, anatomy and physiology, psychology, sort of them sort of subjects. And then off the back of there, I went in to do a foundation degree in sports coaching, but found again that was sort of very sort of science heavy. So it was probably less of a practical element, of more of like a theory element. Whereas I found that to fit my sort of personality and characteristic, if you like, I wanted a bit more of a hands-on approach. I sort of had a couple of friends that were in the fitness industry and as PTs, and sort of after having numerous conversations with them, I sort of got influenced a little bit into sort of getting my level 2 and my level 2 gym qualification, as well as my level 3 personal training qualification. And just off the back of that, studied my level 2 gym and level 3 PT course at Loughborough College, and sort of got offered a job there off the back of it. You know, like most PTs, probably start doing a few sessions with friends and family members, and stuff like that, just to get a little bit of experience and a little bit of knowledge and sort of a bit of first-hand experience. And then one thing led to another. So,
and because now you're doing it more privately. I mean, you work at base as well, but you still have clients outside of that. And did you do that kind of full time privately, or have you always had kind of a mixture of being in a base, or not base, but in a gym, and also privately?
So initially, I sort of started sort of working at various different places, leisure centres and local gyms, delivering classes. And that's where I would get a lot of my clients from. So delivering classes and stuff like that, and sort of off the back of that, you know, networking with people, you know, before or after the class, and one thing would lead to another. And then, you know, I started doing sessions with a few of my class members. Off the back of that, I sort of had a period where it really took off. So I wasn't able to deliver classes elsewhere, and I just put all my eggs in one basket and started just doing personal training solely. And then COVID hit, and various other elements started to influence sort of what I could and couldn't do. So the last sort of year or so, I've been at POWERBASE, still doing one-to-ones outside of there, but just on a sort of a slightly smaller basis. So I suppose a little bit of a mixture, really. Back to your question.
Yeah. And you said you sort of do online and in person. Which one do you prefer? If you have an option, I guess what
He's
are the
asking,
complications?
who do you like more, me who's in person or Matt who's online?
Ooh, good question. Good question. This could rustle a few feathers. Relating to the personal training question, I like the face-to-face stuff. I like interacting with people. I like being there in person. I think online is good, but there's only so far you can take it. You know, as we all know, sort of through the last couple of years, like virtual, it's good and it has a purpose, but it doesn't sort of tick all the boxes.
Yeah, I guess there's more complications that can arise from it.
Yeah, there is definitely. Yeah, it doesn't. It's probably not as easy as straightforward as sort of it comes across to people. So
I guess it's the accessibility of it. That's the beauty of it. If people either aren't comfortable in a gym setting, or for some reason aren't able to go to the gym, or aren't able, or especially in COVID, not able to have people come into their houses.
Yeah.
I guess that's the great thing about online is just the accessibility of it.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
suppose. Yeah. Your degree is a big subject, or like how you got qualifications and that, and you've kind of had both sides of it. Is
Yeah.
where you started a degree in coaching, right?
Sports coaching. Yeah,
Sports coaching, and then said it's a bit too sciencey. I want to go more practical.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Tell us a bit about that, and if or what you would say to people that say you need to get a bachelor's in sports science, you need to get a master's in S&C to be a good coach, to be a good personal trainer.
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of my experiences have actually came from sort of like the practical side of things.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, like you say, the theory and the practical side, they're all fit for purpose. And I suppose depending on how you are as a character, and what your personality is will depend on sort of what avenue works for you. Me personally, just me as an individual, I think just having that practical side and being there face to face and having that one-to-one interaction with people just work for me personally. I would say that you don't necessarily need, you know, loads of, you know, high-end qualifications to be a good coach. I think a lot of the things that I have learned have came from just sort of being there in the moment and sort of you know, getting that interaction with customers and clients. But I definitely do feel like the qualifications do help and gives you a really good sort of you know, increased amount of knowledge really going forwards. And I suppose being around different people on your courses and stuff like that, that's, you know, really beneficial that you can sort of interact with them and get their opinions and sort of, you know, share ideas amongst yourselves to a degree. Whereas I probably took the different route and just went straight in there. I suppose by myself, just with a face-to-face element really.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, depending on you as an individual, would depend on sort of which avenue you would take. I wouldn't say there's any sort of advantage or disadvantage
Sure.
at all.
I guess it depends on what you're looking for afterwards as well.
Yeah, sure.
In a way.
Yeah.
Like if you want to go academics and do research, then you have to get the degree. But if you're really into just the practical side of things and PTing, then it's also a bit quicker as well than getting a 4-year degree. And
it is, yeah, definitely, definitely. So I suppose your circumstances, you know, and sort of where you are in your life will sort of determine that as well, and where you want to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
definitely.
Matt, you still there?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting bloody to turn my phone off. It's getting bloody calls from. But yeah, no, I was just thinking, like, what does make a good coach? Because I mean, you know, we always talk about, we're so, I guess, focused on the elite environment and all these athletes and what makes them tick, that, you know, what does make a good coach? What makes a good PT in a way?
Mm-hmm.
Does it differ, or?
And on the back of that, like, what are your values and beliefs of what makes a good coach? What makes you a good coach?
I would say you obviously have to know your client that you're working with. So you know, obviously everyone's different. You know, there's such a diverse range of different people from different backgrounds, different ability levels. So I would say, you know, sort of that first stage of whether it's a consultation, whether it's just a conversation in a gym, I think that is quite an important sort of part of the process. You know, sort of making them, you know, that sort of not judgment calls as such, but actually just getting to know the individual, having a conversation, you know, being quite open and honest about, you know, where they're at, where they want to go. So sort of that personable sort of approach, but also just being, you know, having good communication skills and I suppose being quite enthusiastic about, you know, what you do. Ultimately, if you're, I suppose, trying to sell fitness and sell a healthy lifestyle, you know, ultimately it's about how you sort of deliver that and how you get that message across. You know, I would say most PTs can give people a good workout, they can, you know, give them all the spiel, but I suppose it's how you put that across to the individual and how they perceive it, and what they do with that information going forwards. So I suppose working together as a team to get them from A to B, if you like.
It's so interesting because like what Matt was saying, there's such a difference between sporting people, athletes,
Yeah, sure.
and kind of general population, or just not athletes, and people who aren't doing that because they want to be the top 1%. And I think in the environments that Matt and I are in, often it's trying to get people, that extra 1% better, so that they win a gold medal, or that they win a premiership or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think often we forget that that's like such a low percentage of the population, that there's
Sure.
99% of the population just wants to be able to like play with their kid, or pick up their kid in their arms without any back pain or something like that.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of people, if I'm correct, that you get to work with, that you work
Yeah,
with,
that's
right?
correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And so when you said there, like, it's about how you deliver it and then what they do with that information. Like, usually you don't have to tell athletes to train. Like, they want to train. They know that that's something they need to do, and they have that internal drive to do that.
Sure.
So what's important for you, or what do you try to do, or how do you get people to buy in to what you're saying, so to get them from point A to point B?
Yeah, sure. So I feel like me as a fitness coach, as a PT, I feel like it's a lot more than that. I know with a lot of like my clients that I've worked with previously, and even a couple of current clients, I see them as a customer, of course, a client, but also as a friend. I feel like I am somebody that hopefully, if they have had a bit of a shitty day, they can come to me, and they can sort of, just have a little bit of a rant and sort of open up to me. So I wouldn't necessarily say go to the extreme of being a counselor as such, but being a bit more of like a support network.
Sure.
Where I can at least be someone that can listen, someone that they can share, things with that they might not want to share with their friends. So I feel like being a coach and a PT is it's okay rocking up and delivering an hour session, and then you're off, and you don't see them till the week after. But I feel there's a lot more to it. With that said, I feel like the more open and honest you can be with a client, the more productive the sessions could be. So I suppose with that, the approach that I take is, I'm a PT, but I also am there as a friend, as a support network, if they do want to share anything, if they do have any questions to ask, whether it is fitness related, whether it is just something in life. Obviously I'm still quite young, so I can't answer every question and give everyone amazing advice. I'm sure, and a lot of my clients have got a lot more life experience than myself, but just as an opinion, and just another way of maybe them looking at it from a different perspective, maybe. So yeah, hopefully that sort of answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
No, it's just so interesting because, as we said, like the athletes are so different in a way. Like it's as David mentioned, the internal motivation. I wouldn't even say internal motivation. It's just something that they wake up and they're like, well, got to go train. It's like comes in hand with the job. They're getting paid to train essentially. Whereas for someone who's got so many external factors that make it difficult for them to train, like someone who's got a job, say they're working 9 to 5 in London, they have to commute there. They got to wake up 7, have breakfast, got to commute an hour, so that's 8, till 9. What time do you get home? Maybe 7 o'clock. Who wants to do that after a long day? And especially if you've got someone that like a PT who's not bringing the energy, or not someone you're comfortable with, there's no chance you're going to go to gym. And everyone's got friends, and you know what it's like when you've had a crappy day and you can just talk to a friend. It immediately lifts you out of that mood and you feel a lot better. So making that like hand in hand, going to the gym with a friend, that will make you feel a lot better. And then the reward of actually going to the gym, we can talk about like the release of dopamine and serotonin. It makes sense, like both hand in hand go together and you come out feeling so much better. But it's something that people in S&C coaches never really have to deal with to an extent, but you in your line of work as a PT, these PTs will have to deal with it every single day. So I guess that is one of the biggest main factors that you have to come across and have to sort of manage. As once again, we always talk in all of our podcasts about the balancing act, and it seems everyone's balancing different things, and you're having to balance like just obviously you want to get a session done, but you'll have to balance being a counselor, as you said, not to an extent, but like as a mate, you're gonna have to balance their emotions and their sort of gym session, because you can't just be like, all right, you've had a crappy day, but I'm going to come and beast you for this session.
Yeah.
Get ready for 10
Yeah.
sets of 10 on leg press. Then we're going to go squats straight after. You know, it just, you've got to be like, okay, he's had a really bad day. He just wants to talk to me. We'll go a relatively light session that they can still benefit from. So I guess you have to think on your feet.
Yeah, sure.
Immediately, you know, like say, and then as well, you know, as injuries come up as well, you know, like someone might hurt themselves at work, or they're just someone going, you know, I recently had to speak to someone who's got arthritis in their one arm. So immediately you're like, okay, what do we do now? Okay, so you need to have that sort of like problem solving. You know, you've got a whole upper day, you've got a whole upper push session ready for them on the day, and then they go, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, you've got arthritis in this one arm, and you're like,
yeah,
sick. So back to the drawing board we go.
Yeah, it looks like it's just one arm exercises all day.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you better ready for that one arm. It's going to be massive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's very, very interesting to hear
What do
like
you
both
do-
sides of the complications.
Yeah, and how do you manage when expectations aren't met, and especially when I think when an athlete comes in and they're having a bad day, there is a little bit of like, okay, let's manage it. But at the end of the day, if they want to be good at this sport, they have to do it.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But for you, if they're coming and they have a bad day, or something's going wrong, or the energy isn't there, or whatever external factors, like at the end of the day, you're just trying to get them to exercise and then come back again and exercise again and not give up. So how do you manage that? And also, how do you manage when expectations of themselves aren't met? You know, like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm not progressing, and maybe they're thinking of giving up. Like, how do you manage that as a coach?
Yeah, I suppose you've got to give them sort of reasons and give them the motivation of why they're doing it. But a lot of clients that I work with, you know, after a certain period of time, you know, they sort of in the forefront of their mind, they're always thinking of the things that they can't necessarily do, or they can't necessarily do as well as they would like to. And like for me, sort of in my role, my job is then to sort of remind them of the journey that they've already taken. And sort of remind them of the progress that they've already made. So they might be thinking, oh, you know, I really want to be able to do a pull-up, but I can't do a pull-up yet. But they've already had a couple of goals that they've already ticked off before then. So, you know, I don't know, run a 5K, you know, do you know, a 50 kilo leg press or whatever. So for me, it's just about, I suppose, getting them to look at it from a different perspective and getting them to look at it of what they've already achieved already, as opposed to what they actually can't do. So for me, it's about getting them motivated, keeping them motivated, and sort of, like I say, trying to adapt fitness into a lifestyle rather than you know, sort of getting them so regimented like an athlete would be. You know, give them alternatives. You know, so if they don't necessarily fancy doing a session with myself, then there's no reason why they can't go out on a walk with the dog, or go on a bike ride, or do a little bit of a hit session at home. So for me, it's just about, I suppose, keeping them on track. You know, sort of giving them the, you know, finding that reason why they are doing this, why they are working out. You know, what is their reason behind it? You know, it might be from a previous injury, it might be something that's triggered them, you know, in their life. You know, from like a health perspective, maybe, or sort of a relative, maybe, or a friend. But it's just keeping on, sort of reminding them of the why, and hopefully just keep on, you know, keep the ball rolling.
So what would you say if somebody came to you and was like new client, and they say, yeah, like I'm on and off at the gym, I go for, you know, a few weeks or maybe even a couple months, but then I just lose the motivation. And as soon as there's, you know, one thing that doesn't go wrong, or something that like kind of kicks me out of that routine that I've built, it's just downhill and I can't get it back.
So for me, again, it's just about sort of giving them motivation and reasons to continue. You know, whether we take that slightly different approach and sort of just say to them, it's not necessarily a matter of how much you do. It's about actually just getting in there. You know, something is better than nothing. So whether they do find alternative routes. So like I say a minute ago about going on walks, you know, taking the dog out, going on a bike ride, you know, going down to the park with the kids, you know, it's all physical activity. It's all burning calories, moving the body. But then again, the sessions that they do with me, I would feel that they're, you know, very important for me to, you know, use that time that we spend with each other to keep them enthusiastic, to keep them motivated, you know, to sort of, you know, give them that accountability to keep going. And you know, as we probably all know, you know, when you sort of achieve something in life, whatever it is, whether it's gym related or not, you know, that is enough motivation to sort of what make you want to do it again. You know, you might try something new, but for example, you know, you might start a completely new sport. You know, you play that sport, you've never done it, you enjoy it, you play well, you think, oh, hang on a minute, I'm quite good at this. You know, that's enough of a reason to then maybe give it a go again. So for me, it's about sort of, you know, giving them compliments, you know, motivating them, you know, sort of prod them to a degree, and sort of try and sell fitness to a degree. You know, tell them the health benefits, tell them the long term, the short term benefits, you know, and I suppose get them sort of thinking about how they can integrate it into their lifestyle. And unfortunately, it's not a quick fix. It's a long term plan, really. So,
No, I mean, yeah. Spitting some knowledge, aren't you, Jack? Jeez. No, it is
like that.
no, it's so interesting to hear it, and I was just wondering, since like you started your whole career in PT and as a fitness coach, has anything changed? Like, have you noticed anything change from when, like, how you're coaching, or that you've seen in the industry? Yeah, has it changed since you started to now, really?
I would say the industry is a lot more saturated with coaches, gyms as a whole. You know, like David said earlier, like that accessibility of different platforms and different avenues. I know, obviously, again, talking about COVID again, since then, a lot of people have gone online to sort of look for PTs, coaches, you know, online coaches. So I feel like the competition out there for this pool of clients, you know, is a lot more competitive. But I would just say, for me, like the biggest thing is just, you can't really put a price on experience. And actually, you know, I've worked with, you know, probably hundreds of different people, whether it be online or face to face, and you know, each and every session I will learn something new, whether it's about the client, whether it's about, you know, maybe a tactical approach, how to approach a client, or anything like that. I feel like that first-hand knowledge and that experience, you can't put a price on it as such.
Yeah.
Very, very, very valuable to sort of, you know, everything that I've done. And I feel like even in another 10 years time, I'll still learn and still pick up knowledge bombs and stuff like that, and different ways to help clients.
Yeah, I guess you have to, like, you or you just stay stagnant. And we were just talking about that with another guest, and he said, you know, the people that learn from either past jobs, whether it was good or bad, are the ones that move forward or continue to progress, and the people that don't are the people that still in that same entry level job.
Yeah,
that they were in 20 years ago.
Sure.
So that's interesting. We hear these same nuggets of gold from everyone, and it makes you think, oh, this is probably important.
Yeah,
should probably write this down now.
Yeah.
First 15 times, I'm like, don't know about that.
And there's no
time, like, yes.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, we can say it as much as possible, but as if, you know, our listeners, while they're listening to this, if you haven't experienced it yourself, you'll never truly understand what we're saying. So think about it whilst you're listening to this. Think about, like, have you ever experienced a time where you can reflect on and actually learn from to bet yourself in the future? So, you know, I mean, there's multiple times. Even I said it in our last podcast with the guest. I said that, you know, I was busy looking either side of me and see how everyone's progressing. I was too busy looking either side to actually notice that maybe I should progress as well, and find out what steps I can take to progress like they are, and stop looking at outside and just focus on within my own being and what I can control. So yeah, I was just thinking, like, for someone starting out as a PT, what things have you learned, and anything that you could share with them that would help them sort of build upon themselves and get them kick-started?
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there with sort of that experience element. You know, until you've gone through it yourself, until you've witnessed it firsthand and gone through the different emotions and stuff like that, it is quite hard to sort of explain to somebody how how it should feel, how it should go, until you've actually been there and done it yourself. For me myself, I mean, it's just a matter of just keep on improving, keep on learning, and keep on working with different people, which will hopefully give me an insight into different methods of coaching as well. How I would approach in a session, say with yourself, might be different with how I approach a session with David.
No legs for Matt.
Definitely not.
Because they're already built. Hey, they're already built.
Oh, mate, Quadzilla.
Kickstart a jumbo jet. These can.
Brilliant.
Maybe like a Tonka truck.
Oh, cheers, David. No, but so like, yeah, what challenges or complications have you? Obviously, you mentioned some earlier, but what I'm wondering, what would be the main one that you faced, and then how have you overcome it?
I would say a lot of people have, their own sort of issues in their life. Everyone, like I say, everyone is different. So a lot of people have underlying. I'm gonna cough.
That's fine.
Apologies, I've got a bit of a cold, man.
Oh no, that's right. I've been doing it as well on the side. Every time like I feel a cough coming, I quickly mute myself and I just go to the side like that.
Let me just compose myself.
Yeah, no worries.
It's a bit tickly as well, so it comes on and off. It's like
when it's just building up.
Yeah.
Talent needs needs a bit of time to himself. The talent.
Needs to drink water.
Yeah. Right. Sorry. Can you
that's right.
repeat the question if you wouldn't mind?
That's right. So the question was like, what challenges or complications does a PT face, or have you faced? That's like, I know you've mentioned a few earlier, but like, what's been the major problem that you have faced yourself as a PT, and how have you overcome it? Really.
I think that when I first started in the industry, I thought it was going to be quite an easy ride, to be honest. A lot of people from the outside in probably look at PTs and think, oh, it's not a bad job. You rock up for an hour, you deliver a one-to-one session, and then off you go. You can go and enjoy your day. You don't do an 8-9 hour shift as one burst. It's a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. But for me, it's I suppose exploring them different avenues to where I can help people, and that's where like the online element comes in. Everyone's completely different. Everyone has, different obstacles in their life that they need to get over, and what they need to what they need to overcome.
That's right.
It literally just keeps on building up.
That's right. Let it all out, Jack. Let it all out.
Right.
It's going to be okay.
Right. Yeah.
Getting emotional here, guys.
I'll see you soon, Jack. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. I'll see you in 5.
No, don't worry. Take as much time as you need. All good.
Just tickling.
It's when you're talking a lot, isn't it? Like your mouth just gets drier and drier, and then everything just starts shutting down.
It does, mate. And as you probably know, I talk a lot.
Do you talk more, or does Matt clean less?
Ooh.
I'm more. Does he clean more? Sorry.
I don't know where this is all.
Did you ever work a shift with Matt, David?
I don't know. I never saw him.
Too busy cleaning. Too busy cleaning. I was too busy cleaning.
So you did work a shift with him. Just he might have been absent throughout.
Right.
I was under the treadmills, just vacuuming.
Okay.
Yeah. Scrubbing the chain and the treadmill with a toothbrush.
The old one that he always used to say to me is, I'm just cleaning the back office out. I'm just cleaning the back office out. And there
Greg
he was.
told me.
Still works.
Yeah.
I
brilliant.
heard they need cleaning out the foam pit. I'm just gonna hop
The
over there.
foam
Yeah.
pit.
Project
Come in and
managing
I'm
that again.
just chucking
Yeah.
out the foam like this. Okay, that's me done. That's 5. That's 5.
That's done.
Can't do it. Can't do more. Try to run up the massive foam piles that you
Oh.
created in there. That was hilarious.
Unreal.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
That was funny.
Go in there for 10 minutes, come out.
The only time I did work with Matt is when we made the podcast.
Oh,
That
okay.
was
true.
was POWERBASE. That was POWERBASE. We were like, let's start a podcast.
Oh, nice. So that's where it originated
Yeah,
from. Then.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
It's origins. When we
Next
get
thing you know,
like
we
a ton of, when we get like 10,000 followers, we'll have to do a podcast in POWERBASE.
Oh, God,
I was going to say,
definitely.
we've got we can't say that it started in PowerBase because next thing you know, Loughborough's going to own this podcast and then we lose
yeah,
all
that's true.
monetization of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
mate,
right.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Definitely. We'll sort something out. We'll sort something out.
Figure a way around.
Get back in that office.
Sorry, Greg. Out you go. It's my turn.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So back to what we was saying before my little coughing fit. So for me, like, just everyone's, really different. Everyone has their own sort of issues in their life. I've worked with quite a range of different clients. Some with disabilities, some with mental health issues and stuff like that. So for me, it's just about, I suppose, knowing the client, knowing how to communicate them, how to sort of get my message and my motivation across to them, and sort of making them overcome their obstacles in life as well. They might have barriers why they don't train or why they don't go to the gym. So for me, it's about hopefully trying to eliminate them barriers, so fitness and physical activity is a lot more accessible to them. Like we've spoken already about, going on walks, taking the kids down to the park, going for a swim with the family, whatever it may be. It doesn't necessarily just have to be in a gym environment. Lifting weights, running on a treadmill. There's loads of different avenues or other routes that you can take to get them healthier, get them moving a little bit more.
Do you get it a bit when people like just they're decided to get on a routine, or it's January 1st, so they're all fired up and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym 14 times a week starting from now, and before that they weren't going any, and how do you manage that? I mean, 14 times maybe not, but even like, I'm going to go Monday to Friday, or 6 times a week to the gym and lift heavy and do all these intense sessions. Like, how do you take that energy and then be like, well, that's awesome, but let's put it in a way that's sustainable?
Sure. So you're saying sort of going from like one extreme to the other.
Yeah. And how you kind of like, let's pump the brakes, but not get rid of their energy.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Let's just like make sure that we're gonna, because it's no use doing it 14 times a week and then burning out in a month and then not doing it right.
Yeah, sure. So again, sort of just re-emphasizing the importance of like the recovery.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot to people. I would prefer them to do, say, 6 or 7 days out of 14 and be able to push themselves to their maximum. So 90%, 100%, rather than, like you say, going double the amount of time. So 14 times, every 2 weeks or whatever, and only be able to sort of coast through the session. So for me, it's about what they actually do in the time that they've got, rather than actually how often or how frequently they can do it. Mm-hmm. As we all know, the recovery element to fitness is massive. It's so underrated. Mm-hmm. Your recovery time ultimately can dictate what happens within your next session to a degree. Mm-hmm. So it's about reining them in, explaining to them that fitness is a lifestyle. It's not a short-term fix. It's not something that can change or influence overnight. And just sort of rein them back in the best I can, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like on the last major topic I think that we'll talk about on here is longevity. Which has, I mean, in recent years, it has been massive. As you said, like so many people are coming out with different information. And one person that's, I guess, leading the conversation, or one person I've heard the most about, is David Sinclair. And I was wondering if within the health and fitness world, is this being something you've noticed more? Like, are clients coming in and asking, like, instead of, I want to get stronger, actually, I want to live longer and I want my quality of life to be extended longer?
So yeah, longevity for me is a big thing. I try and put it across to people that people can have like performance related goals. So things that they can relate to in the gym. So, do a pull up, do 10 press ups in a row, but also have like real life goals as well. So whether that is relatable to their families, their friends, hobbies, their lives, their lifestyle. I can just keep on seeing Matt laugh every time I cough.
No, I'm smiling.
That's making me smiling. Okay, we'll call it smiling. Oh God.
Serious.
Oh God. Thank you. Yeah, that helps. That helps. So yeah, for me personally, it's about explaining that fitness is a lifestyle. It's not a short-term fix. It's a lot more healthier to try and make it maintainable over a longer time rather than a short fix. I get a lot of people that obviously ask me about, they've got a wedding or a holiday to get ready for in 6 weeks. What's the best way to go about it? And for me, again, as much as, I want to help them with it, realistically, they might not get much change within that time frame. So it's just about, getting them to keep the ball rolling and sort of start incorporating fitness into their lifestyle whilst the motivation is high and whilst the ideas in their head, but also just be honest and open with them and just say, you might not see massive results or massive changes in this period, but if you stick at it and stay consistent with it, then, over maybe a 12-week period, that's where you might start to see a little bit more.
The next wedding you go to next summer, be an absolute unit.
Yes, definitely. So just, being honest with them, but also.
Yeah. So in your mind, it's like, great, 6 weeks, but let's use that as a springboard to the next 6 months, next 6 years.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Ultimately what you do now can determine your future and what happens next year, what happens the year after. So ultimately, you're in control of that.
Yeah.
So like you said, use it as a springboard and a platform to work from.
Yeah. Have you had a favorite client?
A favorite client?
Yeah.
Ooh. Hope none of my clients are listening to this.
Or if you don't want to answer that, I guess that's kind of the same. Is like your favorite population or favorite type of person to work with, that you have a consultation with someone and you're like, yeah, this is going to be good.
Like I say, I've worked with quite a diverse range, so I'm quite lucky in that element. And I would say that I've worked with a couple of like elite athletes and stuff like that, which is obviously very enjoyable. I'm sure it would be for anyone, just getting a bit of a bond and a bit of an insight into sort of them as an individual and their lifestyle. But I would say from a slightly more rewarding perspective, sometimes it's a little bit better to work with those that are probably slightly less able, if that makes sense. So like I say, I have worked with people that have got disabilities, that have, mental health issues, that are in, wheelchairs and have various different backgrounds. And I find that's a little bit more rewarding for me because I feel like they probably value the session and the time that we spend together a little bit more. They probably take more from it. They might be sort of slightly less experienced, slightly less knowledgeable in fitness. So for me, probably that element.
Totally get that. I worked at my undergrad. I worked with people with COPD, and I'll never forget that feeling of. And this intervention was 4 weeks of training 3 times a week, and I did the training. And I'll never forget the feeling of like them coming in after 2 weeks and be like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And them being like genuinely excited because he can mow his lawn without having to take a break at the tree that's halfway, or somebody can go up all of their flights of stairs without having to take a break halfway.
Definitely.
Like,
and 100%.
And to them, like, that's gold.
It's massive,
right?
massive. Yeah,
Like
definitely.
they don't
massive.
care about running a sub 100 meters.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
They're able to, like, play tag with their granddaughter or grandson.
Definitely.
I'll never forget that feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I would completely agree with you. That for me is a lot more satisfying knowing that, like you say, that might come across as quite a small thing to most people, is such a big thing for them and a big impact on their life. And like you say, from mowing the lawn to, playing with the grandkids, for me, that I get a lot more satisfaction from that, knowing that again, something small that might come across small to, ourselves is such a big thing for them.
Yeah.
So it's very, very rewarding. So
Yeah.
It's really cool, man.
No, that's awesome. And then, like, last thing really that I'd like to know is, do you have any tips for the young coaches that want to start out and build their own PT business? One of them is talk clearly, I'm guessing.
So yes,
as I've messed
That's
up.
right.
So for me, just be like proactive, really, like in your approach. I mean, I think I was quite lucky, and I got quite a lot of support from, some of my friends that were already in the industry. My old lecturers and stuff like that. So be proactive. Within sort of like the first couple of months of me considering being a PT, I already had a website produced. I already had business cards produced, social media accounts, sort of on the go. So for me, be proactive. Unfortunately, clients aren't just going to come to you. You have to be, you do have to get yourself out there, whether that is in a gym environment and you pick clients up off the back of that, teaching classes, being quite active on social media and stuff like that. So just try and get as much experience as you can, whether if it is shadowing an S&C session, whether it is, shadowing maybe a local boot camp instructor that's a little bit more experienced than you, just offering a hand and getting that knowledge and that experience, because, it is priceless. You can't emphasize enough how important it is to get that first-hand experience. So yeah, for me, just be proactive in your approach, and get as much experience as you can in different avenues, and just always be open to learn new things.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
That was great. Yeah, thank you so much. Like, it was, I thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. It was a real insight to see. That was just a real insight to learn what the differences are between those both sort of industries. Even though they're pretty similar, there are such vast differences that on a day-to-day, people will experience different things. Coaches, in the S&C environment will experience vast different things than a PT would, even though they're basically doing the same thing, but just working with different demographics. It was a great insight. So thank you for coming on, Jack. It was a lovely conversation.
No, pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And is it time for quick fire questions to end it off?
There's always time.
That's right.
Oh,
Take a sip of water. You're going to need it, Jack.
Right, I need to brace myself. What's he got on the agenda?
You can't use coughing as an excuse to think about these. It's got to be off the dome.
I might have to delay my answers. A cough's coming back.
Yeah.
Sorry,
he's planning something. He's planning something, look.
Nice.
Okay.
Catch me off guard here.
Okay, we'll start off with this one. Okay, are you ready?
Born ready. Let's go.
Nice.
Let's go.
Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Nice. What is one thing you regret spending money on?
Food.
Nice. Yeah, it's true, actually. What dish do you cook best? Oh, what a second question.
Ooh, that is a good question. It could be one or two things. Do you need one or two?
Oh,
you can give us two. Yeah.
So I cook a mean hunter's chicken. I don't know if you've...
I've never heard of that.
No,
that is
hunter's
chicken's
What is that?
unbelievable.
It's the best combination you can think of. So you got chicken, bacon, cheese, and barbecue sauce. As like
Unreal.
it's like all as one.
Yeah.
Like you can wrap the bacon around the chicken. You can
I only got introduced to it,
Tell you what, I'm going
a
over
year
to
or
Jack's
two ago.
tonight for dinner.
and it was unreal. Oh yeah, it's a great thing. What's the other dish?
Yeah, what's the other one?
Oh, the other one.
After that.
Yeah, it's not going to top that, I'm afraid. Spaghetti bolognese.
That's
good
decent,
spaghetti,
you know.
good spag ball though can blow your
It's-
mind.
yeah.
can't it?
Parmesan. Yeah. Oh,
Have
wow.
you ever tried frying it the next day, like frying it in a pan, and then the noodles get a little crispy?
Really?
That's good.
Wow. I need to
Good.
try
Try
that.
that.
I need
Top
to try
tip.
that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite rainy day activity?
Cleaning.
Yeah,
Matt's
wiping the treadmills down in. No, I would probably say rainy day. Probably Netflix
Yeah.
or a day of just watching sport, maybe
Yeah.
depending on what day it is.
When
Oh,
those two
100%.
things line up, when there's some good sport games on or something, and it's raining, and you have nothing to do.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then
Perfect.
last
Get yourself comfy.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, last one. What is your favorite gym exercise?
Ooh, one favorite gym exercise. Ooh, I do like a box jump.
Nice.
Man's
When
got
you've got a bit of
springs.
hops. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah,
Jumping
yeah.
jack.
Jumping. That's literally
There you
that's
go.
the route I was going down. There we go. There we go. Jumping
What a way
jack.
to finish off. Well,
Back
thank
to
you
you,
for coming.
Matt. Back to
Yeah.
you.